Yes, I'm going to.
Do you want me to carry it?
yeah, okay. هذا هو المتحف القبطي المصري في تورونتو. وهنشوف جمال وعظمة الإيجيبشن والكوبتيك هيريتج here. دكتور هيلين موسى هتشرح لنا دلوقتي عن هذا المتحف المصري القبطي.
Well, welcome. We're honored to have you here with us. The museum was the vision of Father Marcos, who was the first priest who came to Canada. And he had the vision to start a museum so that we could tell the stories of the Copts, Egyptians, to the immigrants, to the new generations, and to the Canadians.
Yes, to Canadians also. Yes.
We get a lot more visitors who are not Egyptians who come to the museum.
How many visitors per day approximately?
We open on request only because we're volunteers.
Volunteers.
So it depends who comes. We're also far away from a lot of people, so it's not like a downtown museum.
I want you to mention the location or the address for the audience here and for our Egyptian in Canada.
Yeah, we're in a suburb of Toronto called Scarborough, and the museum is attached to St. Mark's Coptic Church.
Okay.
It's in a gallery there.
Okay, and we are going to put the address of هنحط عنوان
It's 41 Glendinning Avenue, Scarborough.
Okay, that's what I want.
Yeah. Okay. So for 25 years, Abuna collected artifacts, and when this part of the building was constructed, they told Abuna, why don't you put your museum, because it would be a shame to have Pope Shenouda come and see empty rooms.
Yeah.
So he quickly put the exhibition, and you have a picture of him here.
Okay. This is Pope Shenouda?
Yeah, in 1996.
Baba Shenouda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, and he blessed it. And we opened to the public in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. Our collection since 2000 has...
The establishment was in 1964, right?
The church.
Okay.
The museum, 1996, and then opened in 2000. And we offer workshops, exhibitions, tours. We have university students study here.
So this workshop, you teach the art, the Coptic art, to the new generations, right?
To everybody.
Everybody, not Egyptian only, but Canadian or from any nationality.
We're a national museum. We're in Canada, so it's for everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have lectures and seminars we don't do here anymore, but our museum started Coptic studies at the University of Toronto. And we have an association there that gives symposiums every year on different topics. Like this year, it was pilgrimages to Egypt.
Really? Okay.
The year before was on the works of Bishop Shenouda.
Okay.
The wrong
Bishop,
on that. And every year we have a different topic.
And this is Mr.
This is Badur Latif and Yusuf Nasif.
Yusuf Nasif.
Then they did the icons in our church.
دول دكتور يوسف نصيف وزوجته بيرسموا الموزاييك. ايكونز او ايقونات القبطيه وحاجات مسطحات هائله جدا وهم تقريبا اللي اسسوا هذا
and they are the pioneers of the new image of Coptic art in Egypt with Dr. Isaac Fanous.
هم رواد التجديد الفن القبطي في مصر الان.
We did this pamphlet.
ودكتورة بدور لطيف his wife, right?
Yes.
His wife.
Yeah, we did this pamphlet when they passed away.
Can I have one, right?
Yes, of course. I can give you anything.
Okay,
let's move on. Here we have ancient Egyptian jewelry. And the reason we
مجوهرات المصرية القديمة.
and it took me many years to discover whether they were real or fake.
Yes.
But they come from the Amarna site, and they're dated 1311 before Christ. We give this cabinet.
Before Christ?
Yeah, the ancient Egyptian jewelry.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason we have this case of jewelry is also to show that the Copts are the historical descendants of the ancient Egyptians.
Of course, this is
So,
a fact.
yeah, so we have ancient Egyptian jewelry. We have brooches with coins from the Roman period and the Hellenic period. The Roman period.
المجوهرات المصرية القديمة اللي هي طبعا هو القبطيك أو القبطس هم السلالة النقية للفراعنة وهنا ادي مجوهرات القبطيه وهي real pieces, right?
Yes,
كلها قطع
1311 from the Akhenaten's excavations.
من عصر أخناتون. وهنا دي العملات
to show the Romans, the Hellenic, the Roman, the Persian, and the Islamic period in art.
العصر الروماني عملات من العصر الروماني والعصر الهيلينستي أو الهيليني ثم العصر الإسلامي أيضا.
Yeah. Now a really unique thing about our museum.
This is another one.
Let me explain to you.
Okay.
The most unique thing of our museum is the collection of Marguerite Nahla. She was a well-known artist, Egyptian artist in Egypt. She was the lead when they had a big exhibition in 1975 for the International Women's Day. They had an exhibition in Egypt of the 10 leading women artists. And the Minister of Culture at the time said that Marguerite before 1975.
1975?
Yeah.
It was fashion?
The name will come, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, the important thing is that he named Marguerite Nahla as the leading woman painter of the first 50 years of Egypt.
في سنة 1975 اختاروا 10 رائدات للفن التشكيلي أو 10 بايونيرز من الرسامات وكان على رأسهم مارغريت نحلة. Okay.
And Abuna was able to get 6 of her biblical scenes. And they're very special because the curator of the Louvre Museum, it's a very long story, but I'm giving it in short, said that she revived the 3rd century Coptic art in modern form. So these are scenes from the Bible. This is a scene from a parable in the Bible of the 10 virgins to say that we have to prepare ourselves for the next world. And these are the wise versions and the unwise versions. The unwise didn't have the light and the wise had the light. And and
you
Jesus,
never know what time.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is her second.
The wise versions, right?
Wise and
wise
unwise.
دي تمثل آية من الكتاب المقدس لا تعرفون الساعة تشرح الفرق يعني مستقبل البشرية كيف سيكون في العالم الآخر. 5 عذراوات حكيمات و5 عذراوات 5 غير حكيمات وهذا هو الفرق بين البشر والسعادة على وجوه أولئك والحزن والأسى على هذه الوجوه. مارغريت نحلة.
This tells you a bit of her story, but this is also a second one of the Last Supper that she did here.
Okay. وهنا دي إحدى لوحات برضو إحدى لوحات
The Last Supper.
العشاء الأخير. العشاء الأخير طبعا برؤية جديدة رسمها برؤية خاصة جدا مش برؤية ليوناردو دافنشي أو الصور القديمة.
No, but she when Abuna went to her and asked, and he said he had this vision of a museum, she said, well, my art is folk art, Egyptian art. It's not high Western art.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the 1920s, when we had our revolution for independence from Britain, the artists were very active then. And they were saying that our art in Egypt is unique and even
more developed, maybe developed more
it
than
doesn't
the
matter, but
yeah,
it's unique.
yeah.
And it's not like high art, and they would go in banners in the streets
Yes.
during the independence period and say, "Long live low art," as against high art.
Yeah.
But he said, we don't care, we want something genuine from there. So she was very much part of that revolution. We have a book on her.
انتعاش الفن التشكيلي في مصر بعد التحرر من الاحتلال الانجليزي، وهذه لوحة تعبر عن العشاء الأخير برؤية مصرية للفنانة مارغريت ناعوت.
And we did a book on her. I went, I think in 5 years I went back to Egypt.
يعني أنا بطلب من وزيرة الثقافة المصرية الجميلة دكتورة إيناس عبد الدايم أن تلقي الضوء على هذه الفنانة اللي ربما كتير ما يعرفوهاش، الفنانة المصرية، وأنا هكتب عنها شخصيا. If you lend me this book,
I will give you a copy.
Thank you very much عشان أكتب عنها لأن واضح إنها فنانة عظيمة جدا.
Actually, just a minute, to this day, she's famous. Like this week, I received a letter from an Egyptian woman saying, I'm writing a book on the history of Egyptian artists in the 1920s through the...
Who is that letter?
Her name is Fátima, I forget the second part, I just got it. Yeah, from Egypt.
Right.
And she's writing a book, so she asked, she's going to do one chapter on Marguerite Nahla. And she, because we have become the center for information on Marguerite Nahla.
Yes, I'm me too. I want to write about her, and I asked now in Arabic.
If you leave me your email, I'll send you the information.
I asked the Minister of Culture, Dr. Ines Abdeldaim, to make a gallery for her in Egypt, in opera or something.
Well, the Museum of Modern Art in Zamalek have 17 of her pieces.
17
of her pieces.
The gallery
Zamalek, you know, where the opera houses?
Yes.
They have 17 of her.
In opera?
No, there is the opera house.
Zamalek gallery.
And there's a big gallery for art.
في جاليري في الزمالك المتحف التشكيلي، وهناك 17 لوحة للفنانة الجميلة مارغريت نحلة التي انتقلت إلى العالم الآخر سنة 77.
Okay, so here, because she said it's folk art, we've got clay pieces. This is from the 7th,
right?
Yeah, this is from the 7th century. Marimina.
Genuine parts.
Everything we get.
هذه قطع من القرن
7th century.
من القرن السابع.
That's a lamp, like they're holding there.
دي اللمبات اللي ماسكاها.
And this is the Marimina flasks.
Okay, Marimina flasks.
And then this is Mary, the Virgin Mary and Elizabeth kissing each other. Okay. And this is the Nativity. And this is a very special piece for us.
This is a sacred trip to Egypt, right? Okay.
And you see, they look very Egyptian. Huh?
Yes, they are.
And this is the Holy Family's visit.
The Holy Family trip.
Yeah, we love this one.
Of course.
And you had a very big feast in Cairo on the first day.
You are going to make it like
a national feast.
National feast, yes.
I know one of the ladies who was organizing it. So we have also ancient books and manuscripts.
This is a Bible?
No. This is a book called The History of the Coptic Nation.
Okay.
And why it's very important.
تاريخ الأمة القبطية.
And it's dated 1889. And why it's very special is because he was saying that not only we have a long history, but we should have a museum.
Okay.
And that was 89. In 1908, Smeide Basha created the Coptic Museum. Okay. So we don't show everything. I change all the time.
You change it. You have a store or somewhere? Okay, great.
These are what we call Agbayas, the 7th day of prayers.
Please come and take photographs from here to be outside the...
And you can see the date, 1700. They're old pieces, 1800.
كل دي كتب
and by hand.
باي هاند، دي مخطوطات بالهاند رايتنج، بالخط اليد، مخطوطات للأجبية، كتب الأجبية. طبعا صلوات ايه؟
صلوات السواعي 7 مرات في اليوم.
صلوات السواعي، صلوات السواعي 7 مرات في اليوم. ودي طبعا المسيحيين يعرفوا
young people.
دي خط يدوي، ده مكتوب بخط اليد، يعني ده priceless. Yes, priceless، يعني قطع لا تقدر بثمن.
But what's special about all of them is we know who did it. A lot of times there's ancient books and we didn't know.
لا نعرف من الذي كتبها.
But here you have the name of the scribe.
Okay.
Like this one, I didn't write it in English, but it's written there who the scribe was in Arabic.
Okay.
This is also a very famous piece translated by Severus ibn Muhtaf, who was very well known for writing the history of the patriarchs. And this is a translation from Greek to Arabic of St. John Mystery. Yes, and it was, it's all, of course, handwriting in 1800.
It's handwriting, right?
Yes, yeah. Our young people can't believe that somebody is going to write all this.
Yes. All ancient books, right? Like that.
So a monk. A monk in Al-Suran monastery said, you have to show them how we learn. So he gave me this. Because they didn't have lines.
اوكي، هي بتقول ان الناس الجداد، الشباب الجداد اوائل المعاصرين مش بيستغربوا ازاي كتاب بهذا الحجم، مخطوطات تكتب بخط اليد، فهي هنعرف دلوقتي طريقه كتابه هذه المخطوطات.
And so in the early days there was no papers with lines.
ما كانش في خطوط ورق
So they would put these threads this way, and then you put it would be papyrus or this, and you do it like that. And you'll have the lines.
واو.
Yeah.
شوفوا الطريقه العبقريه دي. ما كانش في ورق مسطر طبعا ساعتها، كان ورق البردي او اي ورق بيتعمل، فكان بيجيبوا هذا لوح يعني يمكن خشب او حاجه، ودي حبال معموله بالحبال، حبال رفيعه جدا او قيود رفيعه جدا، تحط الورقه عليهم وتمشي كده، تقوم تطبع السطور. واو، جينيوس واي. فلما انت تدقق كده هتلاقي السطور طبعا مش مكتوبه، ولكن زي علامات تقدر تكتب عليها، تبقى مظبوطه خطوطك، ما تنزلش وتطلع. ازاي بتطلع بهذه؟ ممكن تصور هنا بس ازاي بتطلع
so straight
ذات ستريت كده، مش نازله وتطلع. كانوا يقولوا لنا زمان احنا صغيرين السطر نازل يشرب الميه. When we were young, you understand what I say?
I lived in Egypt.
Okay.
And then we show people the Coptic alphabet.
دي اللغة القبطية القديمة اللي هي تطور عن الهيروغليفية والحروف الهيروغليفية.
This isn't hieroglyphs, but in the 2nd century, Greek philosopher took the sounds and put it in ancient Greek letters. Okay. Now I have Greek people who say, "Oh, this is Greek." I said, "No, read it, and they'll find they can't read it."
هذا الألفا حرف A، ألفا في الجريك, right?
Yeah, but
it's alpha.
But it's English. The sound for us. But they also had to create 7 more letters to give the Coptic sounds.
Okay.
So this is not. They invented these to help people read.
So how can we pronunciate the letter A in Pharaonic or Coptic?
Yeah. Pronunciation.
V or B?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The. Z. Yeah. So the pronunciation.
Theta. C.
Yeah.
I. Iota. I. Kappa, K.
Yeah. And these were invented. So we show them because we have some manuscripts completely in Coptic. This is the Bible. Yeah.
This is the Bible. هذا هو الإنجيل وده this is handwriting.
No, this
Not
is
handwriting. This is print. هذا بقى مطبوع. هذا الإنجيل مطبوع باللغة القبطية. واو. أنا أول مرة. It's the first time for me to see the Bible or any you know book written in
Because
Coptic.
you didn't go to the Coptic Museum in Cairo.
No, I went.
But they have
yes, maybe. ده مكتوب باللغة هذه هي الحروف والألفابet القبطية المصرية يعني قبطية يعني مصرية يا جماعة.
So here we have a very beautiful manuscript.
Oh, wow, it's a piece of art.
It's on goat skin and it's Ethiopian.
ده الكتاب ده معمول على جلد الماعز. Yes.
Yeah, goat skin.
جلد الماعز.
Yeah.
And
the reason we have
this is also in Coptic or
no,
in Greece?
that is in Coptic liturgical language called Guz.
Okay.
It has no relationship to Coptic.
Really?
It's more Semitic.
Okay.
And it's by sound. There's hundreds of vocal sound. And you can see they have all these letters. Here's the Gizkrap. And it's understood they have 7 main languages in Ethiopia, and each has many other languages.
Okay.
But all of them understand Guz because it's the base. And
It's a piece of art.
This is like the Agbeya, and the Ethiopians call it Dawit. Dawit, Book of David. Dawit.
داود from
David,
right? From
David,
okay.
the Book of David.
هذا يسمى كتاب داود وهو على جلد الماعز شيء رائع يعني ده piece of art. It's marvelous يعني you know.
When I have museum curators, I open it because there's some pages they fixed. And they, because they were torn, and they sewed it with the goat skin.
Okay. ده عشان جلد الماعز. And from time to time you change the page or something?
I change everything.
You change the page.
And the reason we have Ethiopian is because it was the first Coptic church outside of Egypt.
Yes.
So it's a sister church.
أول كنيسة في العالم ما كانت خارج مصر فيها تاني كنيسة في العالم.
I want to show you this painting because you remember the letter Iota there.
Yes.
Okay. The letter Iota for Coptic is the letter for Jesus. Jesus.
Jesus. Okay.
So 3 years ago when Pope Tawadros came, he was standing there and he said, "Oh, you have a Iota cross."
This is called هذا يسمى يوتا كروس ويوتا يوتا هو الحرف رقم يوتا in alphabet means E. حرف الإي اللي هو يوتا هنا. Where is that?
Iota is here.
Yes.
Here.
حرف E حرف I E G C G H E I yes ده الحرف اللي يعني يمثل أول حرف من اسم السيد المسيح ولذلك أقيم عشان يسوس اللي احنا بنقولها احنا عندنا نقول عيسى أو يقولوا هم جيسس أو يسوع فهذا هو الصليب.
All these are Iota letters.
هذا this is Iota.
These
Look
things.
inside.
This
here is where is the drawing of this? Yes, but I mean that in Coptic.
But it's written this way. These are Iota letters.
Okay.
Then in art form.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is sometimes called the geometric cross because look at how small the letters are. Labib will know it as an engineer. This is the type
I'm an engineer.
Okay.
I'm an engineer. Okay.
You know this when you draw things. It's fine. It's called a geometric paper.
Geometric هندسي يعني means الرسم الهندسي because it's very symmetric, very
But the paper itself, look how tiny.
this we draw it.
Square paper.
Square. So imagine the amount of work to do this.
Can you imagine ان هو معمول على ورق هندسي بيترسم عليه رسومات هندسيه مربعات صغيره، فاذا كان ده كله مرسوم باليد how accurate it is.
And this was done by Pope Macarius III when he was a monk in 1800.
Okay.
Eventually he became a pope. He's our 114th pope.
Yes, Yoga cross painting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
crosses
when he was a monk, we think it took him about 3 years to do this.
They had his father who? The name?
Pope Macarius III.
مكاريوس الثالث.
اللي عندنا ده مصري. بابا مكاريوس الثالث ده before
114th, long before. 114th. Pope Tawadros is 117.
Yes, في 1800.
Pope Tawadros is 118.
18, yeah.
118 هذا البابا رقم 114 اسمه البابا مكاريوس.
He was
مكاريوس.
He was
1944
he was pope.
رسم بابا في 1944.
But he did this in 1800.
هو رسم هذه اللوحة العظيمة في 3 سنوات.
1893 to 90.
Means 3 years.
3 years
to draw this. There was a marvelous, painting.
This is Judas.
This is.
I love it.
This you love it.
This is
Judas hanging in.
ده يهوذا الإسخريوطي حينما ندم على خيانته للسيد المسيح شنق نفسه على هذه الشجرة. بس it's a piece of art.
In the Bible it says that after he realized that he betrayed Christ, he hanged himself.
Yes.
And she was not afraid to put that in a painting.
She Margaret.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said because it reminds people that if you betray Christ, you will die.
You will die. هنا طبعا هو يهوذا الإسخريوطي حينما شعر بالندم وقال أنا سلمت اليوم رجلا صالحا فشنق نفسه على هذه الشجرة. ومارغريت طبعا احنا مش بنشوف لوحات كتير ليهوذا. ما حدش ابدا رسم اللوحه دي ابدا لانه بتدي يأس للناس وكده. فهي مارغريت كانت متخوفه جدا، الفنانه مارغريت نحله كانت متخوفه ان هي ترسمها علشان ده كانها بتقول للناس من يخون السيد المسيح او من ياخد دينه او من يرتكب معصيه يموت نفسه، وده ضد العقيده المسيحيه وطبعا ضد كل العقائد. لازم الانسان لا ييأس ابدا من رحمه رب. كل العقائد بتقول كده بلا استثناء ان احنا لا نيأس من رحمه الله ابدا ولا نرتكب هذه الجريمه الكبرى او الخطيئه الكبرى اللي هي الانتحار يعني.
Okay, we have again, as I told you, I don't show everything. We have many textiles and Coptic textiles. And this exhibition starts from 7th century to 8th century. And there are various pieces you can see. Look how intricate it was.
This is a fabric, right?
It's fabric, found in tombs.
In Tunis?
In tombs.
In tombs, okay. دي حتة قطعة قماش وجدت في المقابر.
You see the detail, it's all handmade.
Right?
In Egypt, of course. Yeah.
في المقابر المصرية وجدت حتى قطعة من القماش.
This one was 4th to 5th century.
من القرن الرابع للقرن الخامس الميلادي. شوفوا عظمة المصريين كانوا بيعملوا فابريك. معلش هات لي كده شوف الرسومات والدقة في الرسومات اللي عملها المصري القديم في القرن الرابع الميلادي والقرن الخامس الميلادي. شيء يعني مارفلس يعني.
And these 3 pieces, I put this picture to show people where it would go. It's not the same tunic, but in olden Egypt they would wear tunics like our
تونيا دي حاجة من لبس انت كده لا كده هتميل التونيا دي بيلبسوها في الكنيسة أظن.
No, everywhere.
دي إذا التونيا كان الزي المصري القديم كانوا يلبسوها الناس العادية زي الجلباب.
That's how the ancient Egyptians would wear. So these are pieces.
بس دلوقتي التونيا حاجة أظن معروفة.
Yeah, تونيا is in the
الشمامسة or something.
Yeah.
ولكن كان زمان يلبسها المواطن المصري العادي في الشارع عادي زي جلباب المصري الحالي.
This is the second piece of Margaret Nachla.
دي رسمة أخرى third one. Yes.
Third one,
Yeah.
and it's when Jesus was in the temple, and that's from the Bible.
When he was a child.
He was
Yes.
a child.
Yes.
Teaching
But
in the
I
temple.
think this age he was in Egypt.
Yeah.
Because he spent, he
No,
came.
this age he was in Jerusalem. Yeah.
How come?
Yeah. He
This
was
is
9
after-
years old here.
This is after he came back to,
Yeah.
from Egypt. دي بعد ما السيد المسيح ترك مصر وعاد إلى أورشليم أو القدس. كان عمره 9 سنوات بس. I don't remember what event.
This was in the Bible when they went to celebrate a feast, and they came back, and Mary and Joseph thought that he was with other people, but when they got home they found he wasn't there. So they went back and they found him in the temple talking to the teachers who are the professors, like a professor. Teaching them. So you see their faces, what is he saying, what are they doing, what is he asking. You can see how expressive she is.
هذه القصة كما تقول في الأدبات المسيحية أو في الإنجيل أن السيد المسيح وهو طفل في 9 سنوات خرج من البيت والسيدة العذراء عليها السلام والقديس يوسف النجار قلقوا جدا عليه راح فين. قالوا طبعا طفل راح يلعب أو حاجة ففوجئوا بيه إن هو دخل الهيكل وقعد يشرح للبروفيسورز دول اساتذه الدين اليهودي. هو كان قاعد بيشرح لهم وشوفوا قاعدين بيسمعوه وهو طفل صغير. طبعا الحكمه يعني خدها من عند ربنا فبيعلمهم. يعني هو طفل بيعلم.
You see, she puts him at the same level.
حاطينه رافعينه على عشان كان طفل صغير رافعينه على حجر يقعد علشان يبقى رأسه في نفس.
That's the way she did it. I don't know if that was how it was.
ده عظيم جدا. اللوحه عظيمه جدا. اسمها ايه اللوحه دي؟ This is has a title or name?
It's Jesus among the wise, and it's in the Bible.
السيد المسيح بين الحكماء.
Yeah. When I was doing research in Cairo with Nachla.
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh my God! قلبك الهيوع. Okay.
I went several years, and I called the Museum of Modern Art in Zamalek, and I said, I need more pictures, can I come? And they said, oh, you have to come tomorrow because every month this year we're celebrating the birthday of famous artists. And in 2 days we're celebrating...
And what year this one?
It was in 2008 I was there. And so they said, but bring her family, because I knew all her relatives. And so I called one of her cousins, and she said, I'll come, but only if you come with me, because I will give whatever they give me to your museum.
Oh, really?
Because you're keeping Marguerite alive. And one of the things they gave...
راحت هي في مصر في 2008 المتحف الفني في المتحف الفنون في الزمالك وطلبت بعض اللوحات واخذت لوحات لان قالوا لها انت هنا خليه مارغريت عايشه وحيه لانك بتعرضي اشياء جميله.
So one
This is a paint
brush.
Yes, this is the brush. احدى فرشات الرسم التي كانت تستخدمها الفنانه المصريه الجميله مارغريت نحلة.
And we also got the certificate. There was a very nice certificate.
وشهادات طبعا شهادة تخرج وشهادة التقدير.
This is a very famous one.
Yes.
She got first prize in France for this.
أخذت الجائزة الأولى في فرنسا بهذه اللوحة الجميلة لوحة الأسماء.
It's called the Miracle of the Great Catch.
This is when Jesus said that three fish.
No. When they told him we spent all night and we didn't catch any fish. He said, go further and you will catch a fish.
السيد المسيح قالوا احنا قعدنا طول الليل نصطاد الصيادين وما عرفناش نصطاد ولا سمكه. السيد المسيح قال لهم روحوا دلوقتي وهتصطاد. نعم.
ادخلوا الى
العمق وهتلاقوا سمك كتير وفعلا هذا ما حدث.
But Marguerite Nachla was known as the painter of the crowd.
Okay.
She didn't like crowds because she was a very timid person. but she believed that everybody in a crowd had their personality. And this is an example.
You mean she didn't draw for public, for poor people, for
No, she drew for all people.
Okay.
But my point is that when she painted she liked to paint marketplaces in Egypt and things like that, where there was a lot of movement. But she personally liked to be alone. But she wanted to show that in the market or the crowd, everybody has a personality.
Okay.
And this is the fish. So wait till maybe when I explain this, you'll understand it better. You see, every one of this fish has a different
expression. This is astonishing. This is like smiling.
And this is
grumpy.
And this is amazed.
And this is amazed. Oh wow! Because this is a great philosophy.
In our understanding of this parable in the Bible, is the fish represent the people of the world.
The mass, yes.
The mass,
yes.
And so this is what she tried to do. There are different colors, different expressions.
هي طبعا كانت مارغريت ما بتحبش الأضواء الكتيرة وكانت بتنفر منها، ولكن هي كانت بتميل قوي إنها هي بتحب الوحدة، لكن كانت بتحب بتؤمن بفلسفة أن كل إنسان فوق هذه الأرض له شخصيته الخاصة وله individuality أو فرادته الخاصة. ولهذا في اللوحة الجميلة دي هتلاحظوا ان السمك مش شبه بعضه، مش زي ما بترسم اسماك، هي تعمدت ان كل سمكة، مش عارفة الضوء هنا مناسب ولا لا، شايفين الضوء، كل سمكة لها شخصية. يعني دي مثلا سمكة حزينة، هنا سمكة متأملة تفكر، هذه السمكة مثلا مندهشة، وهذه السمكة إلى آخره. كل سمكة and this one شوفوا حتى السمك
listening to Jesus.
هذه السمكات تنصت إلى السيد المسيح وتتعلم، وكل سمكة لها لون مختلف، كلها شخصية مختلفة، لها gazing أو طريقة نظر وexpression وgestures مختلفة، رغم أن السمك ملوش هذه الشخصية، السمك كله شبه بعض. لكن هي أرادت أن تقول أن هذه هي الهيومانيتي أو البشرية، كل إنسان له شخصية وله فرادة خاصة.
And this is the sixth one, the baptism of Jesus Christ, and it's done very folk, like they're dressed like the Falahin or the peasants in Jerusalem.
Like Jordan, Jordan. دي طبعا لوحة تعميد السيد المسيح، وهذا هو السيد يوحنا المعمدان، أو كما نقول نحن في أدواتنا الإسلامية اللي هو سيدنا يحيى خذ الكتابة بقوة، نقول كده في القرآن الكريم. فهو هذا هو سيدنا يحيى أو يوحنا المعمدان يعمد السيد المسيح في نهر الأردن، كما نرى الآن، وكما نرى أنه يرتدون الملابس كما كان في هذا الوقت من الزمن في الأردن.
Here we have a coin collection. Remember the jewelry, we give the history through jewelry. This is the history of Egypt through the different powers that ruled. So we have from Alexander the Great. Here it's the coin of Alexander. The Alexandrian Empire.
دي العملات المصرية القديمة تعبر عن كل عملة عن العصر. هذه العملة فيه تمثل الإسكندر الأكبر، وفي العصر عصور مختلفة الرومان، ودي العصر الروماني.
Now the Parthian Empire didn't rule Egypt, but they influenced this.
أثرت عليها هي هذه الإمبراطورية.
And this is the Byzantine period.
والمرحلة البيزنطية.
And you'll see with Jesus and Saint Mark.
وهنا سان مارك القديس ماركوس وسيد المسيح.
And this is the Islamic period.
وهذه
المرحلة
الإسلامية في مصر أيضا، العصر الأموي والعصر العباسي، والعصر الطولوني الفاطمي، الطولوني والفاطمي، والعصر الأيوبي أيضا، والعصر المماليك وعصر المملوكي، وعصر محمد علي، وهو بداية النهضة الحديثة في مصر وبداية العصر الحديث في مصر الطيبة الجميلة.
And then the,
هذا the Arab Republic of Egypt وهذه هي خريطة مصر وهذه العملات.
We stop at the Nasser period because we relate everything to Marguerite Nahla.
Yes. وهي توقفت عند you know what after all in Nasser area Nasser era we are Arab no we are Egyptian no more. We are Arab.
Yeah. Here we have the Pope.
This is of popes, right?
No, not necessarily. Some are popes, some are bishops, some are Bonamoros. These are Coptic.
But this is the possesses of people, right?
Yeah.
هذا مثلا
like this one was from His Eminence Metropolitan Daniel of Khartoum.
ده في Khartoum.
Yeah. But the beautiful ones are these because we don't find them anymore in Egypt. Now they do them in plastic, but this is the leather work of the monks.
really?
ده very special ones.
من الجلد الطبيعي مش من البلاستيك زي اللي بيلبسوا القساوسة في مصر. الرهبان في الأديرة غازلينه بإيديهم. هذا هو سر غلاء أو how precious these crosses are.
Yeah, and then this is the Ethiopian collection.
ده من أثيوبيا الحبشة برضو صلبان. طبعا نحن نعلم في مصر أن الحبشة أيضا تتبع بابا مصر فيه لأنهم مسيحيين أرثوذكس يتبعون البابا أو الكنيسة المصرية.
You like this one because it's old. It's the Resus seller.
الرسوس طبعا. Who drew it?
It was in the time of Marguerite Nahla. His name is Isaac Girgis Barsoum, and he was the father of Bishop Dioscoros in Cairo.
هذا برضو رسام اسمه جرجس.
Isaac Girgis Barsoum.
وهو والد القس.
The same period.
في نفس التوقيت برضو الفنانة الجميلة مارغريت نحلة وهذا طبعا الرسوس المصري الشهير.
I think you will enjoy this because you know there's the Aswan Dam built in the Nasser period, right?
Okay.
And it did a lot to fertilize the land. So we put it here because it's good. But Marguerite Nahla had a very social conscience.
Okay.
And she painted two paintings I found in the Zamalek Museum. One, they didn't call it correctly, was this one. And it's very big like that.
طبعا ده عصر عبد الناصر والسد العالي وكيف تمت يعني بقت الأرض فيها fertilizing أو خصبت الأرض.
She called the museum in Zamalek called this Nubian village. And I said, Marguerite Nahla never did a village without people.
Okay.
What is it? So I did my research.
لماذا رسمت مارغريت نحلة هذه اللوحة النوبية قرية نوبية بلا ناس وهي دائما هي مهتمة برسم التفاصيل حتى السمك جعلت منه بشرا له شخصية وإنديفيدواليتي. فلماذا هذه اللوحة بلا ناس بلا بشر؟
I did research and I got a lot of documents about her and I found out that she called it something else. She called it le commencement de la fin or the beginning of the end.
بداية النهاية.
That was when the Nubians were forced to leave because of the Aswan Dam. And when I showed it to one of her friends, he got very angry with me. He said, how can you say there's no people? Have you ever seen a date tree bending? They're all crying. And he shouted, they're crying, can't you see that?
هنا طبعا هي بتشرح مأساة النوبيين مع السد العالي حينما هجروا الضوء كويس كده؟ حينما هجروا من الأرض لبناء الهايدا والسد العالي فدي اللوحة الوحيدة لها فلسفتها بتقول ما فيش ناس لأنهم تركوا أو أجبروا على ترك الأرض. أنا مش عايزة إخواتنا نوبيين يزعلوا ويسمعوني طبعا هي كلنا فدا مصر كلنا بشر وأرض فدا مصر فهم تركوا بلادهم في النوبة علشان يتبني السد العالي فكأن هذه البالم تريز أو هذه النخلات تبكي على الناس الذين تركوا ديارهم وخرجوا منها. لوحة جميلة دي اللوحة يمكن الوحيدة اللي بلا ناس بلا بشر عملتها مارغريت نحلة.
And next to it, she did this one, which she called Nubian barge, or like Noah's Ark, when there was the flood in Noah's period and all the animals. So here you have the people going with their
this is
animals.
before the high dam, right?
After
Before,
the
also after?
When they left the village,
Okay.
they left on boats with their animals.
like the boat of Noah.
Exactly,
like the boat of
yeah.
Noah. Okay. هنا طبعا بترسم قصة وتربطها كأنها الفلك أو سفينة نوح. هنا حينما هجر أشوف النوبيين سمر البشرة، أولئك هذا الجنس الطيب الراقي الجميل النوبيين، فكيف أنهم حملوا في مراكب من أجل التهجير إلى مكان آخر عشان يسدوا العالم. Nice, very nice pictures.
We tried.
And this one?
This one was done by a very good friend and colleague of Marguerite Nachla. She lived much longer. Marguerite died in 1977. She almost lived 100 years.
Yes.
Her name was Kapka Yusuf. She was a very she was a very famous professor of art.
I know her.
She's the one that introduced me to many people. My last visit.
She is famous.
Very famous.
Yes.
Yeah.
دي طبعا بلوحة بريشة صديقة مارغريت، ولكنها عاشت بعدها فترة طويلة. هي كوكب يوسف، وهي معروفة طبعا يعني توفت سنة 2008. دي لوحة. This is the only one for her.
No, she has many.
No, here I mean
here. But when I saw her a year before she passed away, she said, you know, I want to give you something. What can I give you of my paintings? So I took the Nubian girl.
دي طبعا بنت نوبية وهي اختارتها دكتورة.
دكتور هيلين.
دكتورة هيلين اختارت هذه. حينما لما قابلت هي الفنانة كوكب يوسف، فكوكب يوسف قالت لها تحبي تاخدي ايه من عندي وانا من لوحاتي؟ هي اختارت هذه اللوحه النوبيه لكي تبقى مع هذا العهد عهد هو ده نهايه العهد اللي وقف عنده هذا المتحف القبطي، اللي هي السد العالي وتهجير النوبيين.
Because you know, as an artist, you have a social conscience too. Artists don't paint beautiful flowers. They have a social conscience.
No, this is the philosophy. Every painting has its philosophy. Every painting is a poem. Yeah.
So here's our stamp collection. What I'm showing is the Christian stamps that were issued by.
شوفوا بقى العصر الراقي اللي كان في مصر زمان، كان في طوابع بيتعمل عليها صورة البابا. عادي جدا لأنه شخصية عالمية.
That's when he passed away in 2012.
Yeah, في ده طبعا لوحة.
But also when the St. Mark's relic came back during the Nasser period.
Okay.
And this is the Holy Family's visit.
ودي
Matareya tree.
You know, I was there.
And this is St. Catherine Monastery.
طبعا ده طابع بريد عليه شجرة مريم الشهيرة المقدسة اللي أنا اتكلمت عنها من أسبوعين ورحت زرتها وعملت لكم لايف منها. ودي برضو دي ريحة العائلة المقدسة.
And then this is in Syria, but I put it there. I'll show you more, but let's finish this case. This is a very special album that the British Museum did after the treasures of Tutankhamun left. They wanted souvenirs of that visit, and they did these stamps, and only stamp collectors got them. And there's a gentleman in our church.
This is in gold?
Paper gold, yeah.
Paper
gold leaf.
Yes.
Gold leaf. And it took them 4 years to get the design correct.
Really? Yes.
Because it's very difficult.
This is what is this?
This is a gold earring of Tutankhamun. That's the lotus. And look how complicated that is. Yeah. So there's
سنوات طويلة عشان يضبطوا نفس النسب المصرية الفرعونية التي كانت تصمم بها في هيريتج أو ممتلكات الملك توت عنخ آمون. دي كلها من على أوراق الذهب.
There's 18 of them, but I don't show all. I want to show you this because you like the last drawer.
Here the drawers of the treasure.
This is what we call open storage.
Open storage, okay. Yes.
So, and instead of putting them chronologically, I did it by topic.
Topic, yeah.
So this is the very first stamp that was ever issued in Egypt, 1866.
This is the very first one.
Yeah,
the very
under
first
Khedive Said.
ده أول طابع مصري يتعمل في عهد الخليفة أو سوري الخديوي سعيد.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the stamp on a letter.
What year? I can't read it.
1866.
ده 1866. ده أول طابع بريد مصري يتعمل في تاريخ مصر.
And then this is the stamp on a letter. And it has Arabic and Turkish on it.
وده أول.
Because it was Ottoman at the time.
على الانفلوب أو على الظرف بريد. أول طابع بريد يتعمل بالمصري كتب بالمصري والتركي.
So a few more and here.
ده الملك فاروق طبعا.
No. That's
فؤاد ده المدينة ده طبعا.
That's Farouk here. But these are stamps, different periods.
عبد الناصر الملك فاروق.
And
فريد. دي ناريمان and فاروق. Where is Farida? Where is Queen Farida? This is Queen Farida. No,
I don't have any of her.
Why?
Maybe there wasn't a stamp.
You know, she was an artist. She was a painter.
And then here are some of the other leaders commemorating, like Saad Zaloul is very important to me. My father used to know him.
Really?
And used to demonstrate with him.
Great.
Suez Canal. And here, because of the Aswan Dam, we have the stamps of how they saved the Nubian relics. The very beautiful monuments of the Nubians there. The third row you really like. And here I have Egypt's does stamps for everything. But here are archaeology and Egyptology.
ده طبعا ده العصر القديم والاركيولوجي الحاجات المصرية القديمة. This is I know her.
Princess Nufrat. And then these two were famous Egyptologists, but they weren't known so well. Salim Hassan and Rifat al-Tantawi. He did the first story about our ancient Egyptians in Arabic. And here you have more Christian stamps. It's a collection, but one of the envelopes has Christian stamps. I didn't want to cut them and put them there, so they're here. This row, we have artists, art, and cultural events. Taha Hussein, Kulthum, Naguib Mahfouz, and George Ayad, and so forth. So it's
I like
all,
this one is beautiful.
I'm glad you saw it. This was the stamp they issued on the first International Day in the world, but in Egypt, 1975.
Okay.
Why I was excited to find it in the collection is because, remember I told you, Marguerite Nahla had her painting, and in 1975 at this exhibition, they named her as the leader. See how we think in museums?
Yes.
People say...
ده كان عيد المرأة المصرية وده نفس...
No, international.
ده international عيد المرأة. Yes. international. عيد المرأة العالمي في مصر واختاروا مارجريت نحلة تبقى هي leader.
And there was a stamp or a coin.
Wow, it's amazing.
And these are other things, museums and so forth. So we try to give the history in different ways.
Yes.
Okay. Now you've heard a lot of
also got the most recent coins came out in Egypt, but we didn't display them yet.
And this one?
This, you've heard all about our history in Egypt here. Now we also have a history here. And our museum has objects
but very short history.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, I know.
It's important.
Yes.
When we first came here, we didn't have a church. So we used to worship in Anglican or United Church of Canada. The last church we were in before we came here was Anglican. When Abuna moved here, the Anglican priest told him, take these candles because you need them for your church. He said, no, when we have our iconostasis, we will have our own. And he said, until then, use them and then put them in your vision of a museum.
Okay.
So they're 100 years old. It's a lot for Canada.
لما جم المصريين في البداية هنا ما كانش في طبعا في كندا لسه كنيسة مصرية يصلوا فيها، فكانوا بيصلوا في الكنائس الكاثوليك أو الكنائس الأخرى، وأهداهم أبونا في هذه الكنيسة هذه الكاندلز
Candle holder.
الشمعدان المصري، الشمعدان قصدي، لكي يكون قال لهم خدوا ده عشان تبتدوا تفكروا في ازاي تعملوا ميوزيوم. فكانت ده كانها حاجه للزوايا اللي بداوا يبنوا عليها. عندنا هنا وعندنا هنا، يعني كل واحده فيها pair of candle holders.
Okay, now this is a special exhibition that we opened in March.
Okay.
And it's about artists of today and reflecting on today's life.
ده بقى يعتبر بقى رسم حديث مش مصري قديم، ولكن يعبر عن
because we believe Coptic art continued from ancient Egypt to now.
and forever. Yes. هذا امتداد للفن القبطي ولكن بريشة حديثة اليوم.
This is by a young man called Mina El-Gabali. His real name is not El-Gabali, it's his artist's name. And the reason it's El-Gabali is, you know, after the 9/11 attack of the towers in New York, and how it affected all the Middle East, he wanted to see how, as a Christian and an artist, he could do something positive about it.
To redraw the bad image.
He didn't want to do the bad images, he wanted to
give a positive
So
image.
he prayed a lot and he said, okay, I will do art for peace.
Great.
There is evil, and he did art for that. Eventually, Mina had to leave, so he did.
And why El-Gabali?
Because he did exhibitions in Egypt on mountains.
Okay.
Because he said to reach peace is as difficult as climbing a mountain.
ده مينا هو اسمه. What's his real name? You don't remember it?
No, he's here. He's
Mina what?
Mina. He's changed his name. You know, Egyptians always change their names.
هذا مينا أحد الفنانين المصريين، لم يكن اسمه مينا الجبالي ولكنه اختار هذا الاسم. هنعرف ليه. هو بعد 11 سبتمبر حب يدي صورة للغرب إن إيجابية، لأن كان الناس كلها طبعا في الغرب فاهمين إن المصريين والعرب والكذا والإيسترن بشكل عام هم إرهابيين، فحب إنه يرسم صورة جميلة عن السلام. بدأ يرسم عن السلام، ولأنه كان بيروح في مصر فوق الجبال يرسم فوق الجبال، اختار اسم الجبالي لأنه كان عايز يقول أن الوصول للسلام هو شيء سامي وعالي جدا كأنك تقف فوق الجبل، فاختار هذا الاسم لنفسه.
So eventually he had to leave Egypt. He came here as an immigrant, and of course he came to the museum because it's art, and we helped him a lot to adjust to Canada and all. He found that he could make a living as an artist because he had a family, so he decided to go into law, again with the vision to work for peace and justice through law.
And studied law.
He didn't study here but went to the US, and before he left he said, the museum has done so much for me, what can I give you? So I said, give me one of your peace paintings.
Sure.
So he gave us this one.
هو لما جه هنا طبعا جاي مهاجرا الى كندا ما كانش ينفع يعيش بالرسم، لان الرسم مش بيكسب كتير، فابتدى يشتغل في القانون ومحاماه يعني كده، وعشان يعيش اسرته وبتاع. لان هذا المتحف ساعده في البدايه جدا انه في حياته انه يرسم، قرر انه يهديه هديه، فسال دكتور هيلين اهديكوا ايه؟ فقالت له a piece of your painting، اختارت هي اللوحه دي.
And this called is the peace planter.
Peace planter. هذا هو.
And you see, planting peace is very hard.
زارع السلام. هذا الرجل هو الذي يزرع.
Hard soil, rocks, heat, protected by the sun, the tree,
and this is the olive tree, the olive. هذا هو زارع السلام.
He had an exhibition that we showed all of them. This was the peace dancer, and this was the way of hatred.
راقصة السلام.
And this was a way of hatred. So hatred.
هذا هي الكراهية.
Peace dancer, peace planter.
هذا هي الكراهية وهذا راقصة السلام وزارع السلام. Great.
The most recent painter is this. What we have here. We start here. We have icons of the old icons, 17th century and older ones. But this is, and here I give a short history of our icon here.
هنا تاريخ
Yeah.
الأيقونات
This is
القبطية.
a special series
هنا
by Victor Fakuri. And I discovered him when I was reading Watani. You know Watani in Egypt,
the newspaper. Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
They had this icon of the martyrs of Maspero, and as an artist,
I was one of it.
Yeah,
Maspero, yes.
I was moved by it because it had so much Christian and ancient Egyptian symbols in it.
Yeah.
So we got it, and then he decided that he was going to paint icons to reflect the history of how the revolution of 2011 affected the church in Egypt and the Copts. But he wasn't, in icons we never show violence, horror or pain, because they're sacred images.
Yes.
So his message for everyone is to emphasize our Egyptianness as Copts, but that God will always protect us. So he always has a Bible verse instead of a title sometimes.
What is that?
Like
all the
for
time, yes. مبارك إن مبارك شعبي مصر.
Instead of calling
وطبعا
it,
هنا بيعمل ايكونز، وكان عايز يبين قد ايه الثوره المصريه اثرت على المواطن وعلى الكنيسه وعلى الانسان القبطي وكذا، ولكنه الثوره كان بها كثير من الدماء. الايكونز بطبيعتها هي قطعه مقدسه ما ينفعش تحط فيها دماء او عنف او كذا، فكان لازم تبقى دائما فيها تعبر عن السلام وتعطي طاقه بوزيتيف او ايجابيه للسلام. فكان بيستخدم في كل ايكون فيرس او آية من الإنجيل من الكتاب المقدس. هنا مبارك.
So instead of calling this the 25th of January revolution, which as an artist you'd have to do some, he took from the Bible, "Blessed is Egypt, my people."
Yes.
So he's saying through this, even though there's difficulties, God.
This is the origin of the verse.
The verse in Isaiah. And so the message and everything in here is to show that don't worry.
هنا كأنه كان هذه الأيقونات أرادت أن تقول لا تخف، فإن الله يحمي هذا أثناء الثورة وبعد الثورة، في كل وقت الله يحمي هذا الشعب ويحمي كل إنسان في.
It will take me 50 minutes to interpret each one, so I'll go very quickly.
Okay. طبعا هتاخد في كل لوحة فيها كثير من الفلسفة.
I'm writing a book on it.
هي كتبت عملت كتاب عن هذه الأيقونات.
And that's his history. Victor is in Egypt.
ممكن تتكلم يعني إيه ربع ساعة عن كل
ربع ساعة.
ساعة 1 hour بحالها كل ساعة، فهي هتختصر هذا الكلام. وهي ألفت كتاب عن هذا الأمر.
This one, the Martyrs of Maspero, I did it with an Egyptologist, a professor in Egyptology. It took us 90 minutes to explain the details of this, of the ancient Egyptian art and how it links to how he was able to link it to our Christian faith. It's a masterpiece.
فعلا دي قطعة فنية نادرة جدا، وهنا استخدمت من أنا لا أنساك. هو
He has 3 Bible passages.
على كفي نقشته، وهنا لأنه من يمسكم
But every image has a Christian and an ancient Egyptian one. Like the church is like the ancient Egyptian ship.
Yes, هذا البصرية وهذه عين وربما عين.
But for us in our church, we say when we're praying in the church, even if the church is round or square, it's a ship. Sailing towards eternity when we're praying to God.
Whenever I'm an architect, whenever we plan or put a design for a church, we have one of 3, designs, even circle or a cross or a ship. طبعا هنا دي ده مركب الشمس المصرية القديمة، وكأن هي يد الله التي تحمي المصريين وتحمي أبناء شعب مصر. This is the Horus.
No, it's the eye of God.
وهذه عين الله
that comes from the Bible, and it's telling the martyrs that even anyone who touches the eye of my eye,
هي دي من
these are the tears of God.
أن كأن أي إنسان يمس هذا الشعب الطيب، أبناء هذا الشعب الطيب، كأنه يمس حضرة الله. This is a cathedral,
which is giving the light of God on the martyrs that were killed in Maspero.
طبعا شايفين كتير من الرموز الفرعونية مع الرموز القبطية في مزج جميل جدا وفي يعني هارموني. وحتى ده الجناحين الأجنحة التي كانت ايزيس، جناحين ايزيس.
But it's also in the Bible, the wings of God will protect.
أجنحة الله تحمي البشرية. هذه أيضا
This is the martyrs of Libya.
شهداء ليبيا. شهداء ليبيا اللي رجعت جثامنهم الحمد لله ورفاتهم قريبا وكتبنا عنهم، هم دول شهداء ليبيا الذين نحرتهم داعش الآثمة السوداء.
We only had this one in the museum, but when the Libya incident happened, he sent me a message and he said, please, can you take it in your museum? I don't want it in a private house or in a church. I want it in a place so people can learn this history. And so I said, well, we'll try and get the money and find a way. But
this is a real faces. This is a black one. I know this.
And
Matthew, ده الشهير اللي هو الأسمر اللي كان معاه.
And he uses the Bible, a verse on which the martyrs.
Where is the verse here?
It's not there, but it's here.
This is the names of
the verse is here.
The verse is here.
Passage, and it's the verse which says that the martyrs will go in the altar of God, and this is where all the other martyrs that came before them. And this is their crown of martyrdom. This is very moving to explain also on that. We have now all nine of them. I don't show them all because it's too much. This is when there was the attack on the Botrosea. You remember
شهداء البطرسية.
Again,
شهداء البطرسية طبعا الشهيرة يعني التي جرحت قلب مصر أيضا هم في بنات وبنات وسيدات.
That's the only man.
This is the only man, and all are the girls and
this
women.
Is Maggie, the little girl who died 3 days after, and this is the little girl. And they are
and there are two sisters, Veronica.
And they're angels, and they're taking them.
This is Maggie the angel, yes.
Yeah, she was 8 years old.
Their mothers are friend of mine now. أصدقائي.
So we have also.
This is على هذه الصخرة أبني كنيستي وأبواب الجحيم لن تقع عليها.
هي صخرة الإيمان.
And this is the Kalamun thing, you know, when they went to the monastery to Amba Samuel.
This is ده الباص اللي كان رايح لدير الأنبا صمويل وللأسف برضو تم مهاجمته.
And this is very complex to explain too. But it is taken from Luke 22, when Jesus was praying in Gethsemane just before his execution, and he was saying to God, whatever you want from me,
I'm ready to accept.
So instead of a rock where Jesus was praying, he put the bus.
ده الصخرة التي يعني بدل الصخرة وضعوا الفنان استبدل الصخرة بالأتوبيس اللي هو كان رايح وتم تفجيرهم الأطفال الجميلة.
And that's Amba Samuel receiving them.
وهذا هو الأنبا صمويل يستقبل أرواح الشهداء.
These are the three, because I told him they're missing. There's 3 people missing.
Really?
Where are they?
So you counted everyone. How smart you are.
No, because he doesn't hear. I have to explain.
هي عدت دول لقيتهم ناقصين 3 شهداء، قالت راحوا فين؟ أما هو رسمهم.
The children are the angels.
children.
And I said, why do you? And so this is to show that they went in the bus.
Okay.
So we have all 9 of them.
Okay.
And right now I'm doing a catalog of all of them.
I'm touched and I'm very happy to know.
We're honored to have you.
Thank you.
Please
it's my
sign
honor.
our book.
Thank you. Yes.
I'll give you.
هنا هوقع هطبع بس في دفتر الصور، وبدعوكم يا اصدقائنا المصريين وغير المصريين، هاتوا الناس اصدقائكم غير المصريين يزوروا المتحف القبطي اللي انتوا عايشين في تورونتو وعايشين في كندا كلها. تعالوا زوروا المتحف القبطي وعرفوا الناس تاريخ مصر، تاريخ مصر العظيم. ادي اهو مفتاح، ادي عين حورس.
That's our logo.
وده اللوجو، ده اللوجو بتاع المتحف، وده اهو ده مفتاح الحياه اهو اللي انا بلبسه على طول ده. ده اللوجو بتاع هذا المتحف، هذا هو اللوجو. ارجوكم شوفوا اللوكيشن اللي انا حطاه على هذا الفيديو وتعالوا زوروا وهاتوا اصحابكم الامريكان
الكنديين،
هاتوا اصحابكم الكنديين وعلشان يزوروا ويشوفوا تاريخ مصر العظيم.
So I'll give you a book of Margaret نحلة.
ده كتاب من مارجريت نحلة، ان شاء الله هكتب عنه. فنانة مصرية العظيمة.
We now have 3 more paintings of Margaret نحلة.
Okay.
One of her paintings in Paris, very famous painting, and 2, one of القبطي, الكاتبة and Shammam, the Egyptian way.
Yeah.
But we don't show it.
Okay.
And this is a book that
ده كتاب عن ده البروشورة وكتاب بتاع القبطي ميوزيوم in Canada, Toronto.
We did it
Ontario.
with Abuna Moros.
It is Ontario also.
Yeah.
It is Ontario. Toronto,
Ontario is
Ontario.
a down city.
Ontario, yeah.
Ontario is the province, like the state.
Yes, okay.
محافظة.
Ontario في Toronto, okay.
We did this book, it's like a catalogue for Abuna Moros' 50th anniversary. So it was sort of, you started the museum,
yes.
And now this is it, like in 2000 we had 100 pieces.
Okay.
Now we have more than 1,200 pieces. And that's a small brochure, and we wanted to reduce it.
Yes, I will do that.
And you can put it in here.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll give you my card. You want to get in touch with me?
Yes, I'll give you also my business card.
Yeah, please. Sign our book.
Yes, sure. Here?
Yes,
in
please.
here.
Okay. Here is the date. النهارده ايه؟ 17?
17, yes.
Okay. June 17th, 18th. Name. Fatima. Naaout. And here is here is the email. Okay.
Yeah. And then you can say anything you like. Thank you. Oh, you're writing a poem.
Yes, I'm a poet. You know that? Yes. Thank you, Helen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr.
And
Helen,
this is,
very much.
This is of the 9 cards of Dr. Fahouri. When we had the exhibition, we gave people this.
This is mine, okay.
And I think her eyeglass.
I saw it, that issue, yes.
And then this is a key ring with our logo.
Okay.
Small gifts.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to give you my address, my business card too.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. I'm speechless and I'm very impressed.
No,
It is mine.
touched.
Okay. شكرا جزيلا ومنتظرينكم تيجوا تزوروا هذا المكان الرائع مصري. انتوا انا واقفه على ارض مصريه بكل جمالها، بهذه السيده الجميله اللي بتعشق مصر وعارفه تاريخ مصر اكتر من المصريين، ملايين المصريين. ف where from you originally?
Egypt, of course.
You are from Egypt?
She is Egyptian, yes.
You are Egyptian?
Yes, of course.
Really?
Helen Musa.
Huh?
Helen Musa.
Helen Musa.
My father was from Ahmim.
I
can't be more
thought
Egyptian.
you are from Kuwait or something. No. هذه السيدة العظيمة المصرية الجميلة دكتورة هيلين موسى. أنا سعيدة جدا بهذا الشرح وهذا الحب العميق وهذا الانتماء لمصر.
We had an exhibition 2 years ago, and this gives a bit of a story of our museum.
Really? This is a CD, right? DVD. اوكي ان شاء الله برضه ابقى انزلها وتشوفوها على الصفحه. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful visit
too.
And I'd like to have your books.
Sure.
You have them here?
Sure. Dr. I'll tell Mr. Mahfouz please to give her my books. You read in Arabic? A little
I manage.
Okay.
I read for her.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. Bye. اختم بقى بإيه هذا اللوب الجميل. شكرا جزيلا واشوفكم على خير.
I did finish. I did the museum.
I think you finish, okay? Where is the finish end?
You're tired waiting.
No. We don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.